my favorite thing about the movie is like it feels like a movie. It feels like a real like, go to the theater film movie that, you kind of the reason why you go to watch something on the big screen.
I love that clip so much.
What the hell was that from?
It's just from an interview when they were doing for what's the movie? Kill Your Darlings or Kill My Darlings, whatever.
Yeah. Did that come out before the what's her name AMC Nicole Kidman AMC thing? Did that happen before?
No, the AMC is way older than this clip.
Okay, because they're basically he's also wearing a pinstripe suit. Like he's just doing.
You're thinking it's an homage to Nicole.
I think it's an homage. I think it's a low key homage. Yeah.
You gotta make sure this.
That's the best he could do to promote a movie he's in. It's like a movie.
He was busy having all kinds of relations with Olivia Wilde. He didn't have time to.
I just love how much work Chris Pine's neck muscles are doing there. You can just see the intense when he says that, and he's like, his face is completely stoic, but his neck is like, this guy's a fucking idiot.
He is my favorite.
He's been doing press junkets since he was in his teens. He was in teen movies. So
it goes to show you what a fantastic actor Chris Pine is.
Yep.
That he's able to keep a straight face throughout the whole thing. All right. So we got a couple things going on that kind of collided all at once. We have seen the Deadpool and Wolverine film, so we definitely want to talk about that. There's a lot of stuff that came out of San Diego Comic-Con, so we definitely want to talk about that, specifically the Marvel Hall H panel. If we have time permitting, we can hit on some other stuff. And then also this week, we hit 3,000 subscribers on the channel. So that was, I was not expecting it to be this week. I was like, all right, maybe next week, and then we can do a whole thing. But here we are. But it works. It works. So this is our Deadpool Wolverine I Love You 3000 MCU special edition episode.
I thought when you hit 3,000, you were going to live stream yourself watching all 15 hours of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon.
I'm actually going to do that after this. I haven't got a chance to watch the
we would like to maintain 3,000.
The director's cut. Listen, you don't understand how much those people love to subscribe to stuff. They love to click on things. So there'll definitely be a review for Rebel Moon Director's Cut. So if you want to stick around for that. Not today, not in this stream. I think this is really going to be like an all Marvel day. And we're going to start at the top of the show with Deadpool and Wolverine, a movie that I don't think if you had asked any of us 5 years ago would have ever happened, just based on the state of how fractured Fox and Disney and all that stuff was. Logan had, I think Logan already came out, right? So obviously that was like, hey, this is the
Logan and Deadpool both come out.
Yeah, so but Logan was like, this is my last hurrah, right? Hugh Jackman was like, this is it, we're done. And then we got a little announcement on the couch. And it changed everyone's lives forever.
It's funny. Just this morning, Hugh Jackman posted on either Threads or Blue Sky, I forget which, a photo of him and Ryan Reynolds outside that house, and he dated it, and he was like, we took this photo moments before we went in to film that teaser, and it was just kind of cool. It was a nice little reflection. So.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get into the movie. There's gonna be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, or if you haven't been spoiled by this film, first of all, congratulations on not being on the internet at all as a present.
Congratulations and still living in 1963.
Yeah. Jeez, Lou. This film. So I guess I went into the movie knowing two of the cameos. One of them was just they kind of soft announced a cameo, and the other one was like I was on TikTok and it just came out like no chill, no warning, just came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh no, But to my surprise, a lot of the cameos are actually like full, complete roles. They're not just like cameos for fun.
Yeah.
That part was a surprise. So I'm gonna start with Clay. We'll go around the horn. Just like some high level thought. You can go ahead and sip the drink, Clay, if you want.
Well, first,
yeah.
I was gonna tell you guys, like, you won't believe, I went to go see this at the drive-in, and the movie starts and the screen goes black for 10 minutes, and it's just audio playing.
Oh no.
And people are like honking their horns, flashing their lights, and I see people go back to complain, and I'm like, they all went into the concession stand. So I go over to where the actual projector is, and I'm like, are you going to start this over? Because we're like 10 minutes in and we haven't seen anything. He starts the whole film over. People leave to go to the other theater because it was showing again just later. And they start playing it, and the screen goes black. And for the next 20 minutes, half a dozen times the screen would just go black. And it was almost like it would just go into sleep and they'd have to wake it up. And so that's how I watched the first 20 minutes of this movie. And I was just like on edge because it was like, how much am I missing?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So, yeah. So, like, I got to rewatch it. So that was the best part because I had such a terrible experience. I mean, that was like the worst film going experience ever.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah. And I can only imagine, like, if it went out, like, at the end when you're getting, like, you know, the Deadpool core and all the just, like, little tidbits, even the fight, you know, at Giant Man. But as far as, like, my high-level thought, like, I loved it. I laughed. I got all the inside jokes. That's the funnest part. And I wondered, like, how accessible would some of this be to the general audience? And apparently very, because it's so freaking huge. The 8th largest, or was it, is it number 8, or it had the largest R-rated opening ever?
Yeah.
And it overtook Frozen. Was that the other movie that it overtook in the top?
I haven't seen I haven't seen the R-rated version of Frozen, so I'm not sure.
No, just in top 10 money making.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Damn, Frozen R-rated, like that's just like ice going.
The director's
through, like,
cut.
Ice spikes. Let Zack Snyder take a crack at that, huh? How about that?
No.
Well,
Frozen's a good film already. We don't need Snyder touching this.
Yeah.
The shocking thing, the R-rated version of Frozen is actually just a human-centric Steven Soderbergh movie about IVF. So, you know, just like
I thought you were gonna say human centipede in that sentence, and I was like, where the hell is Josh going with that? So, all right. What, Josh? How about you?
Yeah. So I took the whole family to see it, and I guess my high level thought leaving it was I don't think the Fox Marvel universe deserved a send-off this great, but I'm glad
I know.
Because like I knew it was going to tie in all the Fox stuff. I mean, you can just tell that from the trailers with the 20th Century Fox in the, you know, in the background. But it's so loving to these characters that I was just kind of like, this is interesting, you know, like why do this? But yeah, I mean, it was a great film. It was a lot of fun. It was really great. My only disappointment, and it's not really, was I had the end credit scene built up so much that I thought it was really important. I thought it was going to be leading into future like MCU stuff. No, it's still funny, but no.
They needed to play the one from, I think is it Homecoming, that just the PSA Captain America, like, about patience. Yeah, they needed to play that right after.
Yeah, I mean, so we only got a chance to, you know, for my wife and I rewatch, but for Hazel to see it for the first time, the first Deadpool. And if you remember the end credit scene of that, it just riffs off of Ferris Bueller's end credit scene. Yeah. But it still does more to set up, because in there he says like, and you know, the next movie's gonna have cable. He like walks away, you know. So I don't know. It was great though. What a fantastic movie. So
Fantastic indeed. All right, now, Kyle, you haven't watched the film, but from what you've seen online, that you probably most likely saw all of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I definitely need to see this in the theater. It's funny because two friends I talked to have seen it. One says it's a perfect film. The other one says I liked it, but I think I like two better.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take. We can get into that when we talk about like comparing it to maybe some of the other films in the MCU and Deadpool and stuff. Jeff, how about you? Oh, sorry, Kyle. Did you have something else?
No, I was gonna say I mean, like I'm ready to talk about different parts of the film from what I've seen so far. Because I mean,
we'll definitely get into all that. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I did have some of the cast spoiled from some just watching Comic-Con clips because they had that big showing that on Thursday evening or whatever.
So you went after the Thursday panel, yeah.
Yeah, I went after. So I went Friday afternoon. So I'd seen that Thursday panel, and I was like, and he like brought everybody out, and I was just like, oh, so they're in the movie. But you know, I was not expecting how much they were in the movie. You know, I enjoyed it. A lot of fun, just chock full of fan service. I would say in a good way.
Oh yeah.
I do think it is missing that kind of emotional tether that the first two movies had. But overall, like a solid, I would say, very solid entry into the MCU. And I do love the at the end with the clips, they kind of showed this kind of all the B-roll from just the various Fox movies
with good
that Green Day song.
Yeah,
come on.
And I thought I did see something online that they were still kind of teasing that maybe one day we might get Zack Snyder's Justice League in the theaters, the whole thing. I'm like, I will allow it if they do that kind of clip at the end with the credits. Where they're like, let's put it to bed. Like, just give it one of those.
All right. Hey, listen, I'm on board for that. I'll carve out 4 hours of my day to go sit in the theater. Although the good thing is that one's broken up into chapters, so I know exactly when to go to the restroom. Well, I also had a great time with the movie. I feel like the first 20 minutes or so, like it took a second to ramp up, but then once it got there, it was like, all right, we're off to the races, and there's no looking back, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoy the film. I love all the cameos. We'll talk about a lot of that stuff in a minute. But it was just a really fun experience. I definitely want to go watch it again in the theater to see, like, now that I know all the surprises, like, does this all kind of hold up, or is it just like, was I just like on a high and do you want to build a snowman?
You're the only one of us that got the popcorn bucket, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, where's
your popcorn?
It's funny. They were selling all the popcorn stuff at the Angelica too.
Oh really?
My theater didn't have the buckets.
They had both. I saw so many people. I mean, I'm there for the Asian Film Festival, but they had like two theaters set right next to where we were with Deadpool, and everybody's walking with Wolverine and Deadpool heads.
So this is just a bucket part of it. I don't care about that, but
yeah, right there.
Which the cool thing is, if you do, like, you can Cassandra Nova this thing.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's nice.
So yeah, there it is. I'll put this right next to my Dune bucket.
Hey, real quick, the U.S. women's soccer team won their game against Japan.
Oh, very nice. Well done.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a fan of rugby now, so.
Oh my gosh, I love rugby.
Same.
I have to figure out the rules, and then I have to figure out how to watch rugby.
And I believe you have to start wearing polo shirts. That is all canonical.
I already do that for work twice a week, so.
Oh, there you go. All right, you're set.
Although I think they wear a lot tighter fit. Like both the men and the women can wear like a lot more tighter polos than I would probably be able to get away with. So.
I don't want to go too off stream, but I do believe breakdancing starts this week, so everybody be ready.
I need to watch breakdancing.
Yes.
And again, if they are not laying cardboard down, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Olympic cardboard.
Olympic
cardboard.
They just bring their beds and then they put them on the. Anyways,
Okay.
All right, let's get back to this. This is the kind of tangent Deadpool would have, though. So.
Right.
Staying on par. The first thing I want to do, I prepared a slideshow because I want to go throughout as Deadpool traveling on the looking for the right Wolverine. We see a lot of different Wolverines, and I want to make sure that
Oh yeah.
I want to talk about who's our favorite, of course, but also I want to make sure that the audience knows. I'm sure you've probably seen like what they're each one referencing. So we'll start with probably the funniest one, our short king,
Fun size.
comic accurate Wolverine. So good.
I still want it. I want it.
And I just want to point out that when I was reading later, this was comics accurate. It suddenly, like a light bulb went off. I'm like, oh, that's why they've always cast tall people for this.
Yeah.
He looks hilariously tiny.
Yeah, it's great. It's just, I'm like, now that I see it, I was like, it's good. I don't know that I want it for a whole movie, but it's funny, right?
But I do like it when movies give you what you want. Like in Captain America, the first Avenger, they're like, here's what he would look like in a comics accurate Captain America suit. Look at how silly it is. Now let's move on, kind of thing.
Right.
This is great. I love it.
To give you an idea of another celebrity that's 5'3", Pat Morita. So Mr. Miyagi is the actual size of Wolverine.
My God, Pat Morita was only 5'3"?
Yeah.
Wow.
All
right.
Damn.
Next Wolverine. We have Patch, which I remember a lot of speculation was that this might be Daniel Radcliffe in the
I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I like this a lot. It's fantastic. It looks great. I just love that whole sequence. All right, next up we have Age of Apocalypse, missing hand and all, Wolverine with the 80s rock band hair. Yeah. Next we have from the what is this, X-Men 151, I believe.
Yeah, I think the Reavers are the one who put him in the X.
Now I have to ask. So okay, that's what I was gonna ask. What is that issue about that this is happening?
I swear to God, it's dealing with the Reavers.
Okay.
That's
around the same time he first meets Jubilee.
Okay, because oh my God, like I don't think I remember the cover being like full of skulls on the ground.
It wasn't. It was in the desert. It was in the Australian desert.
Okay, but it's pretty good, especially when they do a close up on it. But I do love that Deadpool's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Old Man Logan,
which I thought was an interesting pick because we effectively got Old Man Logan and Logan.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing when I saw that. I was like, okay, well, I guess that wasn't really the Wasteland, so it was just kind of a loose adaptation of Old Man Logan.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. I mean, although I guess I could kind of see if they wanted to do this, because I know I was reading they wanted to be really respectful to the movie. They didn't want to undo anything in it, so maybe this was also a way of doing that. So.
Yeah. I think the next one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no, actually,
this is my favorite.
Burn accurate.
Burn accurate comic. Now, so I'm wearing the shirt with the first appearance, but did they redo that fight? Is it a different fight?
Yes.
Yeah,
because
it's during Peter David's run. Yeah, it's a Todd McFarlane cover, I thought.
Yeah.
From the Peter David run.
240. It was during what do you call it? During the Mutant Massacre. They're in Dallas, and he ends up fighting.
Okay.
Right. Cool. Well, that's fantastic, and I love Deadpool aping the line of Loki, like "I am a god," and then he, like the puny god, like, "I am Marvel Jesus," and obviously that doesn't go well for him.
Marvel Jesus.
That was really cool, and I think the next one's my favorite. The Cavalrine. Oh my goodness,
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to keep this a secret, is outstanding. I don't know what type of level of security, like the government couldn't do as good a job as Marvel did.
I want to know is he was reported to be having a role in the Marvel universe. I wonder if this was it.
Maybe a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's going to be Hyperion or
Captain Britain."
Yeah, something like that. So I think that's the last. Yeah, that's the last.
Did you see him reload like he does in Mission Impossible? He does it with the claws.
That was great.
All right,
the only thing was, I kind of afterwards I was hoping that as he stepped away from that work table, it was actually not a motorcycle, but it was like a Warhammer set or a computer. You know?
That would have been pretty great. So what was everybody's favorite on that one? On the Wolverine cameos, just the Wolverine ones.
Fun size Wolverine.
One side.
Yeah. I'm torn either between comic accurate or patch. Because I remember the patch days too. And it's
whoever the body was double for that the comic accurate Wolverine, maybe you should look at bringing him as Puck.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but
how tall is Puck?
shorter.
Yeah, it's like Puck is supposed to be. Yeah.
Puck is
I know
shorter.
he's supposed to be shorter. I don't know that the MCU will go shorter. We'll see. Josh, did you tell me which one?
Mine's kind of a tie. I love the. Oh, good.
3'6".
Oh, okay, so they're a lot shorter.
You have to like invert the numbers. I love the Cavill appearance, but I still think the Burn Accurate was such a great kind of fan service moment. So, especially because we got the yellow and blue costume.
Yeah.
And I love the brown and tan one. So it was nice seeing that on screen. So, yeah.
I'll say that.
You know, it's funny. I remember
the Burn era Wolverine.
Yeah.
So that
People,
issue of the X, it's 251, and there are skulls at the bottom of the X on the cover.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll need to go read that.
I remember people did not like the brown suit when it first came out. I think the brown suit was controversial.
Really?
That's my favorite
I
one.
remember there being a little bit of a pushback. Comic fans are never happy.
That's true.
I think that was the costume I saw when I started reading X-Men. So that's what I always associated
same.
with.
I think that's
in
probably what
171.
happened. What did he look like when you were reading comics, right?
Yeah, but I think if you go back and read those letters pages, you'll see people like bitching about.
Well, see, I got confused. I think my first issue was the first Mutant Massacre when they're in Dallas, and he's in the brown costume. And then a week later, I go to the B. Dalton's, and I get a copy of Classic X-Men number 16, and it's a picture of him in the yellow costume fighting Vindicator. I'm like, wait, what the fuck's going on here? You know, and I'm looking at two different whole teams. I'm like, what the hell is this going on? I didn't realize Classic was the 70s stuff.
That was the era, and I did love that where they were reprinting Classic X-Men issues with like new backup stories. Those were great. I love that.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
Nice. All right, so that was the first, and like I said, leading up to that sequence, I think. Obviously starting with bye that was fun, but I want to talk about, before we get into like our favorite moments and cameos and stuff, what did you guys think about the story itself? Like, so Deadpool, obviously, for a short recap, if you haven't seen the movie and you're still watching this, thank you very much, but go watch the movie. Deadpool's universe has lost its Wolverine, which was the one from Logan. So now the timeline is regardless of whatever else other rules the MCU has established, there are now also these like anchor beings, right?
Right.
Wolverine was it for the Fox universe, which includes Deadpool, and now the timeline is eroding itself. And of course, because of bureaucracy, Tom from Succession now wants to just go ahead and delete the timeline, because in a corporate job, in order to make noise and make a name for yourself, apparently you have to either fire people or disrupt something, which is stupid.
That also happens in higher end.
I was gonna say that's reality.
So Deadpool thinks that if he finds another Wolverine and to keep him, he can become the new anchor being. So that's kind of what leads to all the shenanigans. But what did you guys think? And let me start the other way around this time. So Jeff, we'll start with you. What did you think of the story? How did you like that overall?
The story was okay. So that for me is the weaker part of the whole equation. It's kind of just it's a bit of a rehash of the second one, where he's like trying to save, not really save, but I guess in a way, through time shenanigans, he goes back to try to save Vanessa. But like there's it's just a bigger scale, so it's like his whole universe is on the line, I guess. But still, I feel like the emotional attachment was not as strong in the second one. It is, for me, I do have a lot of questions about what that means for like continuity and stuff, but the Fox X-Men were always crazy. So I just kind of chalk it up to being like, I don't know, well, whatever. Yeah, I you know, it was okay. It does, if I can't think about it too much, or I'm like, I have way too many questions, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to enjoy the ride.
Kyle, do you have any thoughts on like the whole premise of this thing?
I mean, yeah, not the strongest story, but I still enjoyed it. You know, it allowed for them to. It was basically, the movie was a playground for them to have fun with whatever they wanted to. Like, just throw all the cameos. It was just, you know, we're gonna go batshit with this movie. You know, and plus, you know, it was amazing. The fact it was the one thing that brought Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. It was, you know, he said, "I'm done with Logan." He goes, and Ryan's like, "Hey, I've got an idea now for us to be buddy cop," and he's like, "All right, I'm in."
Nice.
So,
all right.
Yeah,
Josh?
yeah, and I love the fact, like, I'm also realizing we also have another X-Men timeline now because Monica Spectrum is now stuck in that universe. So we now know there is another X-Men.
That's definitely a completely different universe that we may or may never revisit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Beast was always kind of comics accurate-ish.
No, but that was, I mean, we're talking spit on out of the comic books from like the 70s. You know, Wolverine style hair, you know.
Yeah.
Sure. Got it.
Do you think when Kelsey Grammer is on a press junket, like for Frasier, The Return or whatever, people are asking him MCU questions?
Somebody must. I mean, because I feel like you get the answers from the random cameos after. You know?
Yeah.
So
he disappointed me in an interview recently because apparently everybody's been trying. No, season 2 is going to be coming out for Frasier soon. And somebody asked him, and he actually has come out and said, "No, Cheers is officially closed. It's been sold and closed, so there's no." And I'm like, "Oh man."
Cheers was bought by BlackRock, and then they demolished the now it's a Starbucks.
It's a Starbucks now.
So I'm kind of with what Jeff and Kyle said. The story is fine. I will say I think the greatest swerve this movie made was going into it. I assumed, I think like most people, that they were actually going to make the end of 2 have ramifications, which is why the TVA shows up. And I thought that was kind of brilliant in that we hadn't ever seen the TVA when 2 came out. And so the initial trailer was like them showing up at his birthday party. And it's like, oh, fuck, they're actually going to make that matter. And then it comes up in the movie and immediately it's like, no, that doesn't matter. It's like, that's fine. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is totally different then. And then I was kind of on board because I knew they were going someplace entirely different. But I love that swerve because I was waiting for it to matter and it didn't. Other than that,
I would have loved if they had Owen Wilson show up.
That would have been cool. Well, I mean, we did get
kind of.
What's her name?
From the TVA. B-15.
Yes, who I'm assuming is now like just
the boss
with Peter. You know, they're just banging away, having a great time.
You ship those two together now?
Oh, well, I mean, it was heavily set up at the end of the movie. And besides, I don't know why, but for some reason, I cannot unsee Peter in that Deadpool costume. It's just balls bulging.
I do like how they kind of turned the TVA into a meta in a meta way, kind of made it Marvel Studios, where they talked about how they cull, like their job, the TVA now was to cull the universes that didn't work out or whatever.
Yeah.
And in movie universe, that means like the Fox properties or whatever. So plus they also said in the movie, like the whole premise of the movie was to pull Deadpool out because he was supposed to serve the powers that be said he served a greater purpose and was going to be used later.
Yeah.
And as an audience member, we're all like Secret Wars. But that again, that's the TVA acting as Marvel Studios, like in a weird meta way, you know?
But that makes my one disappointment about this was because I had the same thought, but I was thinking if they're going to go so meta, the only other really meta Marvel MCU property we've had is She-Hulk, and I would have loved to have had a She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
kind of tie the two together.
A lot of people are saying, you know, that the camera thing that shows up at the end.
I thought too. Yeah, there's a
that
camera at the
looks
end.
like the Kevin, the robot thing.
Where was that?
you know the camera that's capturing Johnny in the when they're in the cage and Johnny goes
Oh
on
shit! I didn't even think about
that.
that.
They're saying that thing looks like the Kevin.
Oh
that we
man,
saw.
I hope so. That would be great because I did wonder how the hell they got a camera in there, but I love it. All right, I'm on board again.
Nice. plot holes fixed. Excellent.
Mhm.
Clay, what about you? What about you?
I think the story worked fine. The things I loved about it was if you guys watch Hot Ones when they had Hugh and Ryan on, the thing that pulled Hugh Jackman back in was he goes, I didn't see their the way these two would work until we talked about 48 Hours. So when you go back and watch, Logan is Nick Nolte from 48 Hours through that whole movie. So that's what really pays off. And Logan's stories are always the best when he's like, you know, been pushed too far. You know, he's the guy you couldn't count on until you could, the way Laura puts it in the movie. And those are the best Logan stories, is like, oh, you know, something's triggered him to make him go, you know, nonviolent until he becomes violent again. And then it's fun. That's the story we want to see. And that's what this was. And they gave us the fights, and the fights were the best. Yeah. And the best thing about watching it more than once is you can watch each person go through the fight and see all the little cool details. I mean, it's but the story was great for me. It worked fine.
The two things I think were greatest for me is like the way they glorified Jackman in the film. Like, one, they're walking up to fight the Deadpool and he pulls the fucking mask on.
Yes.
You see that for like
so cool.
Oh, when I'm killing, and then when they're about to say the timeline and he like sticks his claws into the electricity and his suit just erupts and all you have are like godlike abs on his, and it's like, what the fuck?
Well, and then of course you get Deadpool like leaning over and looking at the camera and then at his abs. Great. Getting for the first time ever the comics accurate mask.
Oh my god.
So good. And I hate to say that because it's such a 10-year-old comic fan thing.
Yeah.
But it's still like I cheered when he put it on. I was like,
and they made it part of the story. That was the cool part, was like he did this for Scott, and that's very cool.
I love that it was like that was back there the whole time. Like,
yeah,
I know.
Which, if you're a comics reader, you sometimes think like, how do these elaborate suits actually work? And they don't really obey the real life physics. So
they did that with Hugh Jackman. So I have hope for one other person I want to see in a comic accurate costume and the full mask. Thank you.
Wait, who?
I want
Hawkeye.
Oh wow!
I want to see him in West Coast Avengers outfit. Like, I mean, I want that fucking mask on.
Well,
that would be cool.
Hawkeye's a great segue. So we got some very interesting characters. So this is probably the biggest spoiler of the movie, but I do have. I was trying to look for pictures of them individually, but I don't have enough time for that. So this is the team from the Wastelands, from the Void. So we have, of course, Laura Kinney coming back. The moment she put on her glasses, I popped. I was like, it was the Leo meme, right? Like, oh, the glasses he bought her. We have Remy LeBeau, aka the Gambit.
Gambit.
That was awesome.
Great. So great.
I felt that was so inside baseball that nobody would get the fact that he had tried to make a Gambit movie for years.
Dude,
but it still worked.
The two things I had to explain in the greatest detail to my wife and daughter afterwards was Gambit and Johnny Storm. Those are the two things I had to explain, because it was just like, and I didn't realize you had to watch like 20 fucking movies to go see them. It's like, God damn. Anyway, I'm sorry, Danny, go on.
All right. So we also have, of course, Wesley Snipes returning as a Blade.
I didn't
Apparently,
best cameo.
According to him, the only Blade that will ever be.
Yeah.
He may not be wrong. That's still,
If delays continue on that film, he may be correct about that. And then we also have Jennifer Garner returning as Elektra, which I was like, where was this Elektra when those other movies were going on?
Right.
And I think a big part of it is that when they were making those movies in the what is it, mid 2000s or whatever, they were making them just to make them, as opposed to here where things like, say what you will about the MCU, like for the most part, the movies have kind of a purpose. sometimes the purpose doesn't vibe with everyone, and I think that's kind of the difference, and it's a whole different topic. But like, and the people that are making them, they acknowledge that this material, like, it's important to some people, right? They don't just want to grab the thing and change everything about it and then call it, here's your comic thing. And I think that's
Something like Madam Web.
But
Madam Web is a gem. I don't know what you're talking about.
it's,
You know, but
damn.
it's time for a Pepsi break.
But here's the brilliant thing about this, right? Because I think that's such an important point that you just said, Danny, is we have been so but our view of what movies should do has irrevocably changed since the MCU dawned, right?
Yeah.
Nobody in the early 2000s would have thought that every one of these Fox Marvel movies needed to tie together.
Yeah.
We would have loved for that to happen, but the expectation was so far beyond the realm of possibility that we just never would have expected it. And so what I think is brilliant about this is not only is it a beautiful send-off to all those movies, it does find a way to tie them together with The Void, right? Yeah. And I love that. I love that so much because it's trying to MCU a bunch of movies that were never in a unified universe. So
yeah, and luckily now that it you know, it has that ability now because of all the, we've been kind of conditioned, and audiences, like I feel like comic fans have always been up for it, but like now even more general audiences are open to the idea of like, oh, okay, all these things kind of can happen in the same way. We also had another very interesting cameo that was a big misdirect.
I loved it. Loved it. This was my favorite, I have to say. I loved seeing all the other characters, but when he showed up, I immediately knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I had to explain this to my wife and daughter because they've never seen that movie or those movies. And when it's set up so perfectly, when Deadpool would go, he's going to say it.
that was so cool. Like, yeah, it was really good. And the big misdirect. The only thing that would have made it better is that instead of being Johnny, he would have been his character from Not Another Teen Movie.
Just whipped cream on his nipples.
Yeah, exactly.
I read an interview with him, and he said like he was more than happy to come back with this because that character always held a special spot in his heart.
I mean, it kind of
he's great at it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, and it was really great seeing him return to this role because he is very much playing it differently than Cap, and you realize, oh, he really did approach those two characters in very different ways. You know,
he gets a nice chance to let loose as well in this one, like that whole rant. If you didn't stay for the after credit scene, my goodness, you missed out on. If you thought Deadpool had some like some raunchy dialogue, like vulgar. All those people.
I even noticed the misdirect up till they show him, because when they show him in the hood and covering, he's got the blue suit on underneath, but he has wraps that are red and white. So it's red, white, and blue arm.
Oh, I didn't even
right
notice
before the
that.
scene.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's really like they really plan. I think there's even like a part of a shield somewhere around in the void, so you can think that it's a Rogers that's been there. So it was just, and then the way that he kind of goes out, woof, talk about my goodness, what that
so is that worse than how Mr. Fantastic goes out in Multiverse of Madness? Or is it, because that's what I was thinking of. So
it's very similar. Like there's probably like this split second where you realize what's happening and you're just like, oh
yeah.
There's no pictures of Happy Hogan.
I didn't pull any pictures of Happy Hogan, but we know what Jon Favreau looks like. So picture him as Chef.
Right now, if when you post this, you actually insert the Obama Jon Favreau, the speechwriter, not director.
No, I was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, what in the multiverse is Josh going like with this?
Yeah, I don't know. Josh is
that's our universe. It's weird.
He takes me on a journey sometimes that I don't know if I'm ready to follow.
I'm curious if y'all saw, when they're in Happy's office, you do see RDJ in a picture on the table in the back. We get Cap in the form of Johnny Storm, and we get Thor as in a film in the background. But do we get any other Avengers at any moment, or are they just the three?
Before we get into that, that picture is the one that he took with Peter Parker.
That's
but you don't see Peter Parker anymore because people are he's supposed to be forgotten. So I wonder, because the picture's blocked. The picture's blocked by the Iron Man helmet, so you can't really see who's behind there.
Way
so,
to Back to the Future it.
Yeah, what does that picture look like now?
Oh, that's a great detail. I did love, I think my favorite running joke is every time Deadpool wakes up, he goes, Thor. Like he's just been dreaming about that Thor moment.
I mean, have you seen Chris Hemsworth? I would also be just dreaming.
Well, yeah, I mean, same, but
it's very interesting. I wonder if they'll ever pay that off, or that'll be like one thing that'll never
what if
happen?
What if that is a scene they've already shot for Secret Wars?
That would be.
So I read a post that said, and again, I am on this. My one conspiracy theory that I will 100% buy into is that Marvel has been secretly filming stuff for years now, and that they will at some point cobble all this stuff together.
Yeah.
And
I gotta say, as if I was an agent, I would be like, we need to make sure we get paid for all that stuff that you want to film in secret.
Yeah, sure.
Because there was at Comic-Con, to jump ahead a little bit. Ash Crosland interviewed Pedro Pascal after the Hall H, and so they were supposed to start filming Fantastic Four the next day after that Hall H panel. So she starts off with him something like that, and she's like, but they obviously had that previs roll stuff that they shot already. But she's like, but she asked something, and then he gets weirded out along with Vanessa Kirby. Like they all of a sudden just like completely are like, we have it. No, our filming starts tomorrow. Filming starts tomorrow. And I'm just like, they've been filming like the way they were doing it kind of tongue in cheek, but also like really like, but I think they've been, I'm pretty sure that stuff is being
That's interesting.
I like that. I like that idea. I think that's fun. Logistically, we know they can probably do it because I mean, look at this movie and how much of it was a secret. So they have the means and the resources. I want to talk about the villain of this, Cassandra Nova, and I'm gonna go look up the actor's name while you guys discuss.
Emma Corrin, something like that.
Emma Corrin, who also played Princess Di in The Crown. Very different role here, of course.
Very different role.
She was great, but yeah,
she's fantastic.
Her voice, just the way her tone when she would talk to them, and she was just playing the whole time, and it came across verbally.
Yeah,
her body movements, her mannerisms, like everything was like, oh, this is like a mustache twirling level villain, but it's still so menacing, right? Especially when she would go inside of people's heads.
I know that was really disturbing, and they did it at least
straight out of the comics. That's a very quietly shot.
I didn't thought about that. Yeah.
So I didn't realize that's how her powers work because I don't think I've read a Cassandra Nova comic in a long time. Where she, or at least the one where she actually does that. So that was jarring to see.
But seeing it and just now, it makes me want a R-rated Wolverine and Kitty Pryde movie. Like that would be awesome.
Oh, see, my thought was all I want is a scene between her and Patrick Stewart. Like I would kill for that. Now.
I'm gonna say not Patrick Stewart, James McAvoy. The Stewart's kind of getting up there really in age, so.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen any of the McAvoy.
What about a CGI de-aged Patrick Stewart?
Here's how you do it. You do James McAvoy in the real world, and then when she sticks her hand inside of his head, it's Patrick Stewart.
That's awesome. That's all right. I Marvel, Feige, I hope you're listening.
Put me on the payroll. Look, Feige. I don't need to get paid a lot. Just bring me to the premieres. And then promote my channel.
He gets all the popcorn buckets he wants.
All the buckets. All right. I think we've kind of gone over the big points. So let's talk about some of your favorite moments. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's going to involve the relationship between Deadpool and Wolverine. But yeah, let's just shoot them off. I guess I'll start with Clay back again. Give me some one of your favorite moments.
The opening scene is one of the top 5 comic book openings of all time. Just him taking the skull and killing people, strapping on the claws, going full Deadpool Wolverine, and then getting it stuck in people.
I love it. It's like Wolverining is hard.
It is so, I mean, just that, and then also the dance choreography during it. So, I mean, that said, we're going to commit to this movie 100%.
Yeah, great music choices all throughout the film. Like, for all generations, I feel we were getting some bangers from a lot of different eras.
I was watching Kevin Smith's review of the movie, and he got to go see it in a theater in California with the director from Grease in the theater.
Yeah.
And he said when the fight scene happens and they start playing "You're the One That I Want," he said he looked over at him in the theater as these two are just beating the shit out of each other inside a car.
Oh, that's amazing.
What great product placement for those vehicles, huh? I think it's a Honda and a Kia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Honda Odyssey.
Yeah. It's a great car. Honda, we're open for we're also open.
My favorite scene of the car fight is just when like Deadpool gets knocked out of the window, and all you see is Wolverine's hand just kind of go.
Yeah.
That was great. Like backhand, come on, let's go.
All right, Josh, what about you? What was your favorite moment?
Oh man. Again, probably the Johnny Storm reveal was the moment I just lost it. I really liked that. I mean, I was okay, I think, with all the fights. It just felt, and by the fights I mean between like Deadpool and Wolverine. So the car fight was fine, I guess, but it also felt a little unnecessary. I don't know.
You think it went too long?
A little bit.
Which I think if it was any other characters, it wouldn't. But these two regenerate.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
I'm with Josh. I felt that was a long fight, but in going back to the buddy cop kind of formula for the movie, I'm like, it made sense to me that I was like, this is in the movie where the buddy cops would have a fight.
Right.
Like in a regular buddy cop movie, it'd just be an argument. But because I'm sure they were like, but these are regenerative, like immortals, they would beat the hell out of each other, knowing that they couldn't really do any damage to one another. So
right. All
right. Yeah, I think that I did also really like the Spock reference at the end. That was great. So anyway,
what about this guy? Nice Pool.
Oh man,
sorry.
I thought this was gonna be Zenpool, and then they actually gave us Zenpool in the big fight.
Oh,
which Josh doesn't know about because he hasn't read Axis. But
yeah, true. The thing I love about that, because this movie is way more thought out than it I think needed to be, which is good. And because I was kind of like at the sequence towards the end where you get what happens to Nice Pool happens, right? I was kind of like, that was the moment structurally. I was like, what is happening right now? Like, why? I mean, of course he's going to use him as a shield. I don't see why this is like a plot point. But then I realized, oh, wait, of course, because his face isn't fucked up. He clearly doesn't have regenerative powers because he never went through. He's just a merc, it's it.
I love the idea of like, I can also gently touch the fourth wall, and he just goes to the proposal.
Great.
Because you think that's what the fuck I do?
Which immediately, like, Hulu started heavily pushing on their main screen. Which was
really? Oh, that's hilarious.
That's a Jack Donaghy move. Like that corporate synergy is that level of corporate synergy. I'm surprised. Sorry, Josh. I thought we were gonna get our first live on the show.
Woo!
I wish they had given us in the Deadpool core I wish they had given us a version of the Wolverine Origins Deadpool. I was looking around for it and I didn't see it. Now I guess it's supposed to be dead. But well, not really. I think the head was just on the beach and like I don't know, somebody peed
Well,
on it. Or something,
he goes back in time and kills it.
It kills
with a gun.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
He's
That's
just
right.
standing in the doorway, and then he walks back and shoots him like 5 more times. So
Yeah. So that was really cool. Lady Deadpool, not Taylor Swift, but
No,
Blake Lively.
it is
So
Blake Lively, yeah.
it's confirmed. Nathan Fillion was Headpool.
Mm-hmm.
Was he really?
Headpool. Yeah, he voiced
Yeah.
the floating Headpool.
My daughter realized who Cowboy Pool was.
Who?
Matthew
Matthew
McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Or maybe someday governor of Texas, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, we are one of the worst states in the country right now, so he could only improve it. But then I worry, could he?
Hey man, well I'll
you know
be
what,
outside
if
naked
we're
playing bongos.
If we're competing with Florida to be the worst state, McConaughey could absolutely improve things.
All right. I
was gonna say if that's not his slogan, if that is not his slogan.
All right, let's see. I have here a little picture. So yeah, this is Zen Pool's right here, which is insane. We have a Wrexham pool, of course. Baby Pool and Kid Pool is supposed to be both of their kids, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' kids.
Who the fuck is the one on the far left side that looks like a Power Ranger?
I don't know. I don't know the name of it. I don't remember from the comics, but that's definitely like a Super Sentai Deadpool or something.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm for it, but I'm just like, who is that?
Yeah. So yeah, it's and I think the resolution, this fight is really fun, but the resolution of it is, it's only something Deadpool could pull off. It reminds me of like, what was the thing where everybody has like the same best friend, like, because that's what it is, right? Everybody loves Peter.
I love that.
So when Peter shows up with his bulging sack, barely fitting into the cost, I thought that was a really funny joke. And they all call him Sugar Bear, which is really funny. One thing I wanted to ask, because I didn't. Did any of you guys rewatch Deadpool 2?
No, that's the one I meant to, and we just didn't get to it.
Does Shatterstar have healing abilities?
No, because he died. I mean, he goes back in time and saves everybody.
He goes back in time and he saves everyone.
Oh, he does save everyone. Okay, that's why I wasn't sure.
But not Brad Pitt's character.
No, that's a Van.
Yeah, I thought Brad Pitt was Cowboy Pool.
I mean,
interesting.
To be fair, Vanisher could have been in the room and we just never would have seen it.
Never knew.
No, he does have accelerated healing.
He does. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean,
comic Shatterstar does. Movie Shatterstar died in a wood chipper.
That's right.
True.
No, it was a helicopter. He parachuted.
Oh, was it the helicopter?
It
was
on the window.
It was the Zeitgeist or whatever.
Zeitgeist, yeah. I was like the vomit guy.
All right, so I have two questions, right? Or one a comment and then one a question. So, comment. I loved the Deadpool gang scene, but I felt like it wasn't set up well, because that whole sequence just out of nowhere just goes from you don't quite know what's happening and then they're all fighting. Was I the only one that felt like that? I get if you have that many Deadpools, of course they're all gonna fight, but it didn't. When they appear at first, you kind of feel like, oh, this is gonna be Deadpool's in-game moment, right?
No, because they mentioned
Cassandra Nova got him.
Yeah, they mentioned that the cores work. They're mercenaries in the Void too, so they work for Cassandra Nova.
Oh, see, I must have missed that. That's probably when I went and peed.
They just did like one line when they were in with the Blade and them. Is that when Elektra talks about it?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I missed that then.
I think outside of what's his name? The fire.
Nice Pool tells him about the Deadpool core. That's where it comes
in.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
So outside of Pyro and Sabretooth, maybe even Sabretooth, I think everyone else that was like a recurring villain was coming back as somebody different. They just look very similar.
The photo you showed of Cassandra Nova actually had why am I blank on her name? Yukiko.
Lady Deathstrike.
But yeah, and you can tell it's not her. It's not Kelly Hugh.
Yeah,
so.
it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same actor. The Juggernaut is not that
Yeah.
English guy that we see in all.
They were
the-
all Robert Downey Jr.
maybe.
All right,
I
so
didn't-
my question is this, and Shatterstar reminded me, have the Deadpool movies been the ones that we've gotten the most comics accurate costumes in? Because if you remember, when Shatterstar shows up, he looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because it's a Liefeld design.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I think
Yeah, I think so.
even just Deadpool himself looks like so.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Guardians 3 has that they have accurate comic book costumes.
See, and I still haven't seen that one yet. I need to watch that.
what?
I know.
Disney Plus.
I know. I'll watch it soon.
Josh just watched The Dark Knight back in 2012. Like it's just you guys expect him to watch a movie every year.
He watches it when the next
True.
one comes out.
Oh, yeah,
So-
exactly. Exactly.
So okay, so Wolverine. So Wolverine is the anchor. Old Logan was the anchor being for that universe, for the Fox movie universes, but he dies. So I always assumed that Logan took place in same universe, but in the future.
Yeah.
It does.
So when they get at the end, does that mean there's two Wolverines just hanging out, or is that a different universe that they've transported?
He's got a
I don't.
point.
So
It's
that,
a different
this is where.
universe.
No, it's
No, wait,
it's
what?
so Wolverine takes place at you think 2037. Sorry, not Wolverine. Logan takes place 2037. So to your point, Jeff, I think if you time it out, there's probably two Logans running
No,
around in the same
2029.
2029. Yeah, so I knew it was in the future sometime.
Well, then
Uh,
that would mean there's two X-23s.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, because these two don't belong there, right? So-
One's just getting abused right now. One's a little kid getting the heck abused
Actually,
out of him.
she's probably not even born yet.
Yeah,
'cause
she
she was
probably, yeah,
like,
that's true.
Oh,
yeah.
good point. Yeah.
So she's probably not even born at this point. Maybe they can go save her. That'd be nice.
Because that was the only thing I was like, I didn't, because at the very end of the movie, Colossus is there, and then like old Logan is there with X. But I'd be like, if I were an X-Men, I'd be like, oh, we got a second Wolverine now, like.
Well,
What?
I mean, they did it in the comic books. I mean, they brought when they did after Secret Wars, we had Old Man Logan there, and then of course, the one who died comes back. So we've got multiple, Logans in the 616 universe.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
true too.
you guys want the biggest realization from this movie? It means that in 616, Tony Stark is not the anchor being.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
you can't
very
be.
true.
Right?
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. is.
What if it turns out the anchor being is actually Doctor Doom?
Well, but I don't think that. Well, I mean, we'll get into it when we get into
Yeah,
it, but
we'll
I don't
get
think
into
that. I think it's She-Hulk's buddy, whatever her name was,
Oh, yeah, with the Y, but
with the Y. Yeah,
oh,
it
geez,
says
I
somebody's
forgot.
like she's
Oh.
she's got to be the anchor being.
Madison. It's Madison.
Madison with the Y.
Madison to the Y. Yeah, that's right.
Not what you think. Yeah, that's
No.
the anchor being. That's why Wong is protecting her at all costs.
I was.
now.
Are you sure it's not Wong? I mean, Wong's appearing in everything. Are you sure he's not the anchor point?
And he's the
Oh, yeah.
Sorcerer Supreme of
One could be.
616.
Very well could be though. That so. All right. Do we have any other thing we want to talk about?
I just want to go when they're fighting the Deadpool Society. I just want to go on the fact they used Madonna's song was fucking. That's what made it one of my favorite moments because I was reading an interview with watching an interview with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. He goes, yeah, one of the crazy things, scary things was actually going to her house and asking her for permission to use the song, and she goes, yeah, go for it.
Not only that, he said that she came back and gave them advice on how to use it, and I'm thinking it's.
wow.
I heard that too.
I'm thinking it's about how the whole sequence of them playing out, they come from behind the hot dog cart or whatever. Which I love that Deadpool grabs the Desert Eagles, the gold-plated Desert Eagles.
Yeah.
And
the minute he grabs those, it's the entire reason he basically had Nice Pool killed. He wanted his guns, and of course he wanted
And his
his
dog.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, surprised he didn't take his hair.
Oh man, we had an elderly Chinese crested that we adopted, and she was already like 11 when we adopted her, and so we every time Dogpool was on screen, my wife and I are like,
Oh, is that what the breed is? I wasn't sure. If
it's a Dogpool is a mix of Chinese crested and pug. So
okay.
Those eyes.
no, that's
Mary Poppins. Now we have 2 Mary Poppins in the MCU. Well, I guess one of them is gone, but
Are we going to get a Pet Avengers? Because now we have quite a pool of animals to Goose, Lockjaw.
We've had Throg.
We got
Pizza Dog.
Lucky.
Pizza Dog.
Lucky.
I wish Cap had an actual Falcon. I wish Red Wing wasn't just like an automated robot.
Yeah, that would be cool.
The only one we need, and this is from the cartoons, we need Mrs. Lion from Spider-Man's Amazing Friends.
Oh fuck!
She's actually in one of the comics.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I gotta say, when the Fox stuff hit, like "Good Riddance" is just such a good song that it'll like make me choke up all the like. Even if it's nothing, even if there's no montage in front of me, it'll make me feel feelings. But with all the stuff, like it was just, and then you look at Hugh Jackman, and he's so young.
Oh yeah!
Oh god, yeah.
That clip of him talking about showing up on set the first time as Wolverine was just
yeah, because I remember they had cast a guy named Doug Ray Scott who had to drop out because he went to go do some other film. And so he passed on Wolverine, and that's how Hugh Jackman got it.
Wow.
And he had like 2 weeks to prepare or something crazy like that. Like he had no time. He was learning his lines day of. He was out of shape. Like, I mean, like he's always, but the thing is he did want to work out more. Compared to what he looks like now. And even back then, like he was obviously in great shape, but he was just like, I wanted to like really get going, but he was like, I just had no time. Like he was literally just 2 weeks before shooting, he got cast in that role. I was a little, I thought they were, because there were so many rumors about people being in that movie. I was just like, oh, no Taylor Swift, no James Marsden, no, like, even though
1986 Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
I wanted that to be the 4th. Before Laura walked out and they said there's a 4th coming, I was like, let it be Howard. Let it be Howard.
What was that a Fox? Was that a Fox movie?
Oh shit!
I don't know.
I think Blade wasn't a Fox movie either.
No, Blade wasn't. Blade was a New Line Cinema, I think I saw that earlier this week.
Yeah, which is why. Which is why Blade's not in the montage at the end.
Howard was Universal.
Okay.
The only other thing I would have loved was, can you imagine if God, I blanked in his name. What's his face came back as the Thing from
Michael Chiklis?
Yeah, thank you. That'd have been to me. Like he just like stomps in.
All blue eyes. I think maybe Marvel didn't want to remind people as much of like the Fantastic Four too, because they're getting their own. They want these Fantastic Four on the forefront.
Sure.
Chris
we do have a chance to pull the maker from one of those 2 films, and that would be kind of cool to see him come from those films.
I think either person that played Reed could do a good maker.
Yeah.
The newest one, I think, would be the best maker. Not the guy who played.
Miles Teller would be great. Just in general.
I just don't like him as a person.
I'm not a big Miles Teller fan. So
that's why he's a maker.
All right. Any final thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine?
I hope the fourth Deadpool is Secret Wars, and they film it during Secret Wars, so we get 2 movies with tons of cameos. That's my pitch for Deadpool 4.
I think my final thought was it felt so. I think for me, the biggest surprise was I went into it expecting it to be setting up how all this stuff is going to come into the MCU. And it was the exact opposite. It's kind of just like a very final feeling movie. Like we're done with all this. And I don't know. That was just, it was kind of weird. I was not anticipating that. So
Okay. All right. Let's move on. I did want Jeff. You want to check your mic? Sorry, we're doing some tech.
I'm gonna test. How can you
That's
hear me?
better. Okay. I was hearing.
Okay.
You guys were hearing the buzzing too.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't just me. I don't want to be like an asshole. But okay, cool. Perfect. All right.
Perfect.
Let's move on. So that's our Deadpool, and I'm sure we'll probably revisit this. I think once this is out on like VOD or Disney, it might be fun to go back and rewatch it and talk about it again for a little bit.
I want a bit of trivia. So Blind Al, Deadpool's blind roommate.
Yeah.
Come to find out, she was actually romantically involved with Captain America during World War II.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Blydell's
Really?
backstory.
Yeah.
Is that from the comics or what?
Yeah, this whole comic. Yeah, apparently she was in a relationship with Cap during World War II.
Which
She was his drug dealer.
I'm blanking on her name, but that actor is also in Fallout, and man, is she having a moment.
Oh,
She
she's
is
great. Yeah.
great. I love
Leslie
her.
Leslie
Uggams.
Uggams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's Leslie Uggams. Leslie Uggams. Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
so good.
Oh yeah. I guess there's a whole thing. Yeah, you're right. I think she comes out in that. Remember when Cap was old and he had to go do something with Deadpool
Yeah.
a few years ago?
Yeah.
I think that's probably where it comes up. I wish Negasonic Teenage Warhead and like some of the other
Yeah.
characters had a little bit more to do, but that's not their film, I guess. So there you have it. All right. So last weekend was packed with a whole bunch of others. So on top of all the Deadpool Wolverine stuff that was going on, we did a show last Saturday, and I was going back to get some clips and stuff, and I remember asking Josh and Jeff, like, what would you like to see at Hall H? And then we'll talk about it towards the end of the episode, and we never did. So
Well, I think because it hadn't happened yet, it was going to happen.
no,
the next
well,
day.
that was going to be my thing. I was
I got
my
you.
question
Okay.
was like, what would
What
you
do
like
we
to
wanna
see
see?
later on? But we never came back. We were too
My
hyped about
answer
whatever we were
was
talking about.
Robert Downey Jr. gets announced as Doctor Doom.
Wow. Wow.
Brilliant.
I had it written down here somewhere, but I don't know.
Like,
Mine was
Karnak.
mine was gonna be I wanted them to announce another movie set in the same retro universe as FF.
Like what?
Night Thrasher.
It's just called Night Thrasher Invents the Skateboard.
Yes.
1963. But see, that's a good question. I don't know. Like, what would I want to see?
How about a young Nick Fury, like in the style of young Sheldon?
Oh, that I like that.
Young
like that.
Nick Fury.
Young Nick Fury. All right. Let's talk about San Diego Comic-Con, and we'll go in order. We're obviously going to build up to the big thing because we want to keep you guys around. So Fantastic Four. I don't know if that was the first thing that came out actually, but that's how I wrote them in the notes. Did any of you guys go into the depths of the internet to find that footage that they showed at Comic-Con?
I saw the thing of the Fantastic Car, but other than that, I haven't seen anything else.
You should watch it because it's fantastic for sure. So it's like this whole, it's almost like it's brought to you by the Future Foundation. So it's pretty much Reed giving out a class, but it's like 60s retro futuristic type of setup. And it's really fun. I think Pedro Pascal I didn't realize how much of a geek he could really play and bring to the character. But they didn't really talk about much other than, this is what we're going to do. Fantastic Four is going to be this like movie set in the 60s. Galactus is the big villain. But then also Fantastic Four will appear in the subsequent sequel. So who knows what kind of gymnastics they're going to have to do for that. But what did you guys think of the Fantastic Four presentation?
I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
I love it. Everyone answered the same thing. That's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's no footage to go off of. I think everyone here has seen Pedro Pascal, in the DC and the Star Wars, and even in the Nick Fury or the Nick Cage universe. We've seen, and he's just great. So I'm excited for that. I'm curious how they're going to handle Vanessa Kirby and Invisible Woman, what her story arc is going to be. You know, Johnny and Ben just need to be Johnny and Ben, and I love the actors that are playing them. So I'm just, I feel like they have the right chess pieces. They have to succeed where 2 others have failed.
Now,
Or 3 others have failed.
the guy that's Johnny Storm,
Yeah.
what's he from? I don't think I know.
Stranger
Is that he?
Things.
Stranger
Oh,
Things.
okay, that's probably why. Because I stopped watching that a little bit ago.
I mean, but dude, he's such a standout character that season. That's why I think his Johnny Storm's going to be amazing. Like,
oh, is he the guy that plays the guitar?
the Eddie Munson? Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's so good in that. So it's like, but really, everyone's going to compare him to Chris Evans, because that's been the best Johnny Storm we've got. I think that's been the best Fantastic Four character we've got.
I mean, I agree that Chris Evans has been the best so far on screen, but I do want to give some props to
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, who I thought was the only good thing about that movie.
Also, according to Josh, he had to explain who Johnny Storm was to why Chris Evans was Johnny Storm. So I don't know if people are going to be like, remember that Chris Evans was Johnny
Well,
Storm.
they will now. That's the problem.
But I don't know if they're going to go back and watch those movies. I think they'll just.
I plan to.
But it's Gucci or something, whatever he says at the wedding. Like, we do have this image. This is what is at the end of that.
Yes.
The little peeper of Galactus, played by the actor who was in The Witch, and he was also,
so good.
He was really good in The Witch. So I don't know. This obviously this isn't to scale. This feels like a very small Galactus.
But he grows as he eats. So right, isn't that?
I don't know.
No, he doesn't.
So Galactus, he looks. You as the person that's viewing Galactus, like he appears how you looked at him. It's kind of one of those things like you can't perceive what Galactus really looks like, so he looks different to different people, kind of thing. In the comics,
he's
that's
a
how
cloud.
it's supposed to be. Sometimes he's a cloud. Sometimes he doesn't wear pants. Sometimes, I don't know if you've seen.
You don't need a Dr. Manhattan situation with Galactus.
God,
you've never seen that
imagine?
early Galactus in his booty shorts?
Return of the 50-foot dong.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm excited to see where it goes. They are definitely in their own movie. They're going to be in the 2 Avengers movies they announced.
Yeah.
They've already said that. I'm curious I feel like after Avengers Secret Wars, we're definitely going to see a soft reboot of the whole continuity, I believe. I'd be curious to see if the actors' contracts go up until that point, or if they're just going to completely wipe the slate clean. If I were Kevin Feige, I'd be like, this is my dream, was to make a combined universe all along. The problem was he didn't have all the tools at the beginning, but now he does. Now he has the complete toy chest. I would want to reboot and to be like, we're starting everything from scratch so that I can see Tony Stark play with Reed Richards, play with, Spider-Man, with.
But I also feel like that's risky because it's pretty obvious they were attempting to do that with this 2020 Disney Plus generation, right? Where we got Kate Bishop, where they were very clearly introducing the next generation of these heroes. And I feel like that has faltered. And
wait, I have a theory.
Okay.
I think Secret Wars is an Avengers film because it's all the young Avengers. And my theory is built on the last Marvel's movie where we see Captain Marvel kind of having to accept the role that she's a hero to one person who doesn't know her, and she's something else to Spectrum. And so I feel like she might be the head of the Avengers, who are going to be Kamala, Kate Bishop, Ironheart, and they're going to be in Secret Wars with the rest of the heroes maybe remaining on Earth.
Interesting.
And they fail because they fail saving the world from Doctor Doom, who will show up in the next Avengers film, which will unite the young Avengers and the current Avengers against Doom.
They've already announced that Jackman's supposed to be in the next 2 Avengers films.
Oh, which makes sense for the every time he says till you're 90, right, in the movie.
Jackman and Tobey Maguire is also been confirmed for the.
So, all right. So this goes back to my question about the FF movie, though. So, I know it takes place in a retro 1960s. Have they established it as a different universe?
Yes, they've already announced
Yes.
it. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is if ultimately to defeat Galactus, they have to move universes, and that's what's going to bring them into 616.
So in the
Oh,
ultimate,
shit.
isn't there something in the comics? Don't they send 616 Galactus to the ultimate universe at some point? Isn't that's like a plot
Yes,
point?
they
That's the
do.
And it combines with the Galactus Horde or whatever, the Galactus Swarm that's in the Ultimate
forgot about
Universe. And then I think that's what leads to the ultimatum and the ultimate destruction of that. Yeah.
So I wonder if they're kind of riff off of that, where they're just like, to get rid of Galactus, we'll just shove him over to this other,
That's pretty fucked up. That's what the Avengers, the new Avengers at the beginning of Jonathan Hickman's run, that's what they were doing. They were like, we're gonna destroy that Earth before the incursion, and so it doesn't destroy our Earth. So
No, this makes total sense. So what if the FF in that say we're gonna send, like, Reed discovers the multiverse, sends him to another universe, and then plops him in the sacred timeline. And then they're like, oh fuck. Like, we put him in the one universe we can't lose. Right?
Yeah.
I do
They have
love
to go
that
back and
Josh.
get 'em.
I'd love that Josh very confidently said something about a comic book topic. This makes perfect sense.
And that's how you know I've been reading comics my whole life.
All right. We also had Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh, this looks good.
The first thing we got
Yes.
confirmed: Giancarlo Esposito is the leader of the Serpent Society,
Called
Sidewinder,
it. Called
Yes!
it. Called it.
which is
Good
great.
work, Jeff.
We also have, of course, what's his name? Blake Tim Nelson.
Tim Blake
Nelson.
Scott.
Tim Blake Nelson. I don't know. So
Tim Blake-
it's
Tim
those
Blake
three names.
Nelson.
Yeah, it arranged somehow, but he is the leader. Now we haven't seen any like big head leader footage. We've only seen a little bit. Of course, Harrison Ford is both Thunderbolt Ross and a Red Hulk that I think the audience at Comic-Con got a way better look at. Like in the trailer, where whenever the White House is being destroyed, like it's because the Hulk is jumping out of it. I think like and it leads to that fight that we see with the Shield and the with what are they called? The pink blossoms that are around in the Washington area.
Jesus.
Yeah, the cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossoms.
Yeah. But then, of course, we also know that what's his name is going to be a new Falcon, which in the comics, that's the character that he is. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts on the Captain America? How do you guys feel? That's probably that's the closest movie we have. So how are you guys feeling about Brave New World now?
I mean,
Well, I'm curious about Giancarlo Esposito coming in to shoot these extra scenes. So I feel like, did they pivot off something? Why was this story? Are they able to switch out villains like this? And what does the Serpent Society mean in this world?
Okay. My big question is Seth freaking Rollins still in this movie?
that's what I was about to ask that.
Like that's
Good
what I really
question.
want to know.
Who is that?
He's a
He's a
wrestler.
wrestler.
But
He's a
he was.
wrestler.
There's some pictures of
Didn't
him.
know either.
He's supposed to be one of the members of the Serpent Society.
Yeah,
I
he was
just don't
supposed to
know.
film stuff before they restarted shooting stuff.
He did film stuff, so like, because he was off TV for a while. There's
did-
pictures of him in an outfit. I mean, obviously, that could also just be his everyday wear because he's very outlandish.
I am hyped for this movie, but I find it interesting that for, I think since Winter Soldier, all the Cap movies have been pretty grounded, gritty, like not spy thrillers, but like, like
spy thrillers.
espionage stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so they're going to do that again, which is fine. I'm hyped for it. But then why go with the Serpent Society, which, as we all know, is not exactly a...
I think the way it's looking now, the Serpent Society is more like a
Terrorist organization.
pardon the pun. It's more like a Cobra organization.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
With-
I will not
Determined to rule the world.
yeah. So it's more like they're not the demolition crew, right? It's more like
Okay.
What's interesting is this
I'd be
Society was
curious.
a big part of the Caps comics when he became the captain. When he took away the mantle of Captain America and he became donned the black costume. They were a pretty big story arc in that line of comics.
Oh, okay.
When does Thunderbolts come out? Because I feel
February,
like this has got a.
Valentine's Day of next year, the same date as Man
that's
of War
right.
came out this year.
And it's got the Walmart symbol with the bullets, the Walmart bullet symbol. So I feel like this movie has definitely got to lean into Thunderbolts.
Yeah, seems like it.
Probably so.
And
That's a great segue.
Adamantium.
I do want to say they did say like they're gonna go see like the Celestial that's on Earth. They're finally it's gonna be addressed. That's where they discover adamantium. That's probably what they're fighting for or about.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Jeff mentioned, this is probably gonna segue right into Thunderbolts with an asterisk. We don't know what the asterisk stands for yet.
It's a bullet.
They
showed at Comic-Con. They said that there was like a bullet for each member that shows up in the logo later.
Oh, okay, but there's still another. Kevin Feige said there's another meaning to this, but we're not going to address that yet. Maybe at D23.
He still says asterisk too. Kevin Feige will still say the asterisk.
Also, I'm thinking since Harrison Ford is president and he is Thunderbolt Ross, like they're working for him, like a covert. Like Val is leading this covert operation.
That's
for the president. Very much Suicide Squad, which I mean, that's not what the Thunderbolts originally were, but in some iterations of the comic, they're kind of like a Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And I hope people who don't know who the Thunderbolts are go back and read the very first volume and don't get spoiled, because that was a great comic all the way to the reveal. So if you've never read the first volume of Thunderbolts, that's worth picking up.
Not even that. I liked it. I read it. I had collected it up until the way even Hawkeye was leaving the team.
Yeah. So the one thing they did tell us about Thunderbolts is that the way they're gonna meet kind of is that they're all going into the same mission, like from different angles. They're all going for the same target, and
that's cool.
That causes shenanigans. We had David Harbour show up in the full outfit at Comic-Con, which is great. I feel like he's the most unhinged, like in the real life of all the characters, of all the people that are part of that film. And if you haven't started following Julia Louis-Dreyfus on TikTok,
or Threads, that's where I saw it.
Yeah, she's on all social medias now.
Yeah,
she's a blonde. Like the last thing I saw, she had blonde hair, and they're shooting Thunderbolts. And I
feel like they're dyeing her hair for that. Which when she showed up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, she had that like strip in her hair,
the purple
right?
streak. Yeah.
So.
Same as when the character showed up in Shield, Agents of Shield. Because the same character showed up there.
Oh,
a bit of information I read from Comic-Con was the fact they're going to have Bucky fight the Sentry, and I'm like, that's kind of a with the Hulk. So how is Bucky going to fight him?
They've mentioned Bob Reynolds. Nobody has said Sentry yet officially, but I mean, we can put two and two together, right? But
can we?
He was there. Whoever the actor is was there at the Hall H stuff too.
Yep. Yeah,
and he was super cagey. Like they couldn't.
They just call him Bob
during all the interviews. Yeah, they just call him Bob.
You can't fool me though. Mm-mm. You don't get Steven Yeun and then recast him to not get a Sentry.
Yeah.
So, all right, and then that kind of led us to the big thing. And boy, oh boy, first of all, I didn't realize there was going to be such a split reception to the news on the internet.
I know. I was kind of surprised too.
All right. Let's reveal it.
I may reveal it. Breaking news, everyone.
Breaking news here.
You heard it here first. If you haven't been on the internet in a week and a half, sorry, we're glad you woke up from your coma for this. Can you imagine?
We're the first things you're watching.
Somebody goes into a coma at the end of an Endgame, and then they wake up right for Avengers.
Comic-Con.
So they renamed Avengers 5 to Avengers Doomsday, and then they redid the logo for Avengers 6, which is Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And then among the cult of a bunch of little Doctor Doom minions or Doombots, probably, we get to see not only are the Russo brothers back directing, not only is one of the writers, Stephen McFeely,
Yeah.
one of the guys is back writing the movie. Hopefully they get the other person as well. But then we get Robert Downey Jr. revealing himself as Dr. Doom. Now, not Victor Von Doom, just Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom.
And I think it's very important that we make that distinction. I'm going to open it up.
We may not get an origin story. We just start with him as Doom, and he just wears, and that's the thing is, like, people have talked about, but what if he runs into Spider-Man? I'm like, but he's fucking wearing the mask the whole time, unless it's the Doom that wears the mask that just has the scar, and that and he covers his face because of that one imperfection, which would be a pretty 100%. Great move if he does want to do the reveal. But I kind of would like to see just the nasty, burnt up Victor Von Doom sealing himself in there. I kind of want that origin story.
Yeah, I think this is a red herring, bait and switch kind of thing. I think he is. They've already said he's a different universe as Dr. Doom. So I think that this is 100%. You're going to get, like I said, a Scooby-Doo moment where he gets unmasked and everybody's going to be like, Tony Stark.
He's gonna be a Tony.
But I do think that there's, except in a accent, a thick Eastern. That's what I'm most excited about is his thick Eastern European accent is Robert Downey Jr.'s. But I think there's probably going to be, I don't know if there is a 616 or 199999 Dr. Doom, but I think that there's going to be multiple, or at least after Secret Wars, they'll recast Dr. Doom as somebody else or something like that.
Yeah. So I was immediately not excited by this announcement. And I'll tell you why.
We have one in our own midst.
You do. Here are my reasons. So one is from just like a kind of practical approach. I feel like Marvel felt really burned by what happened with
Marvels.
No, with Jonathan.
Oh, with Kang.
With Kang.
Yeah, okay.
And they are pivoting to the safest thing to do. They're looking back saying, well, we succeeded really well with Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers. So let's bring them back to do this. Now, that may be a fine move, but the safety of that is what makes me nervous. All right. So that's reason one. Reason two is I'm kind of worried that this is not going to be a classic Doctor Doom character, which I just want to see that done well. I want to see a classic Doctor Doom on screen done well. I want Latveria. And having it played by somebody that we so closely associate. Like, to me, this decision is the opposite of how Deadpool handled Logan, right? They wanted to be so respectful to that they didn't want to in any way like dismiss what that film set up. And I feel like this is dismissing Robert Downey Jr.'s legacy as Iron Man. Like, I am really not hyped for this. And then the third reason is this. Have we ever seen, and this may be great, don't get me wrong, have we ever seen RDJ play a villain?
Did you watch Oppenheimer?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
no, I haven't.
Oh, okay. I mean,
no,
it's a real life person. So,
what was the sequel to The Fugitive? The Marshal, the U.S. Marshals with Tommy Lee.
yeah.
He played a villain in there.
Oh, does he? Okay. I mean, you could argue his character in Less Than Zero is a bad guy, but
Chaplin.
Chaplin, yeah, okay, all right. Well then, okay, I will.
That Chaplin. I was just kidding. That was a joke.
Well, but yeah, true. But I just his demeanor is one where he really relies on patter and quick talking, and that is the antithesis of Dr. Doom, right?
That I definitely see, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm really worried about this decision because I feel like they are just going for known quantities at this point because they were leveraging Kang for this era, and it just fell apart.
And
see,
I don't know if they had.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just gonna say, I think it's weird that they are willing to recast actors,
Yeah.
and they did not recast Kang, which tells me that they had problems, deeper problems than just
Yeah,
Jonathan
I agree.
Majors.
That's a good point.
Because
Yeah.
if it was just about him, the one character that you can recast and not need an explanation is Kang, because Kang looks like a million different people.
And we
like
got
in
that
the
at the
comics.
end of
Ant-Man,
Ant-Man, right?
And
When
the
you
Wasp.
saw
So yeah,
all
so
the-
if anybody could get recast, it'd be
Yeah,
Kang.
exactly.
So I'm
That's the
thinking
point.
that they just were like, this is a harder thing to crack than they thought it would be.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
wanted to
maybe
do
that's
like
Go ahead. Sorry,
I have
Kyle, go
an
ahead.
issue with them paying. They're paying $80 million to bring him back, and I'm like, they're already having financial issues, and you're going to pay. No offense, I like Robert Downey Jr., but he's getting paid more than the Russo brothers, for the film. It's $80 million. I'm like, really? Do you need to spend that much money?
Money. Disney's got money. I'm not worried
Disney's
about that.
got money.
I know, but
That's
still,
a market demand thing.
I think that what I always I kind of had I was always worried about Kang because as a comic book reader, and maybe I just haven't read the right story, I think Kang's kind of a boring character.
Yeah.
And definitely very messy. Like, even I tried to read Kang Dynasty, and I did not care at all for that story. And I don't know any. Maybe you guys are probably the right audience to tell me other Kang stories, but I don't know anybody just like a regular.
Never been a Kang fan.
Yeah.
Well, see, and I loved what they were doing with Kang.
Yeah, me too.
I thought they were kind of going their own route by still being respectful to some of the comic stuff. And so I'm kind of bummed. But yeah, I mean, to Jeff's point, I hadn't even thought about that. You could totally recast Kang and, get away with it. So
he worked very well in Loki season 2. Or I mean, all of Loki. Loki, actually. All of Loki, I think.
When he shows up at the end of season 1, it is just so good.
So you haven't seen Oppenheimer or Guardians 3, but you've seen all of Loki.
I have, yeah. Look, the trick is always what I get my family to watch with me. That's the thing.
Oppenheimer is a 3-hour romp.
I can't watch Guardians 3 without the whole family there. So.
Okay.
I have a question though, because a lot of Kang is in Loki, but we do get to see him in Quantumania. How would you guys feel if they pulled a George Lucas and recast the actor and then went back and re-edited the movies and put that actor in?
No,
there's no need. If you're gonna do that, do it for Iron Man 1 and put Don Cheadle in the movie.
Okay.
If we had to do that for one movie, let's do it for Iron Man 1. Yeah, and like I said, I think that Josh. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, speaking of recasting, right? I think so far the greatest way they've handled that is just in what we see in the trailer for the next guy movies. Like they said either the presidency or the mustache, and that's it. That's all you need. You don't need to pay tens of thousands of dollars to like CGI it. So.
And we've watched James Bond movies. Like, we know that different people can play the same character.
But there's always the story that James Bond is a role, not a person. Yeah, it's a person who takes on the 00 name,
right,
and becomes James.
Same with what is it? Is it Jack Reacher? Right, that's just the same.
No, I think he's supposed to be. He's one guy.
Not Jack Reacher. Tom Clancy's character. The other
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Thank you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jack Reacher's been played by a giant man and a very short man.
Fun-sized Jack Reacher and real Jack Reacher.
Is one comic accurate Jack Reacher, which is the big one?
Yeah.
What if we find out that the body double for the comics accurate Wolverine was actually Tom Cruise?
Man, he's a real hairy man. He's a real hairy man.
I heard that he's going to be part of the closing ceremonies, and he's supposed to do a big old stunt with a motorcycle.
Tom Cruise was knighted.
For real?
He was knighted in France at the beginning of the Olympics too.
Yeah, so he's doing something during the closing Olympics.
You know what? The only thing that makes me interested in Scientology is wondering how it gives somebody a death wish like that. I mean,
Well,
I
think you're invincible.
Yeah.
No, I think he knows too much. He knows where the bodies are buried. He knows where he knows where Miscavige's wife is, and he's just like, I just need to die with this info.
Where speaking of nights and all that, and this will be our last thing to close out on Comic-Con. Black Knight was supposed to be in either the Blade movie or Midnight Suns or something. Are we ever gonna get that Blade movie? Do you guys think?
There's
ever get
so
that
many
one?
I
loose
think
tethers floating around out there.
Wesley Snipes is right. He's going to be the only.
he's going to be the only one. I feel like there are so many quote unquote jokes in Deadpool and Wolverine that are actually not jokes. I think every time he told Hugh Jackman, you're going to be playing until you're 90, I think he was being serious. And I think Blade's comment in that was the same way.
It's going to be a life accurate old man Logan.
By the way, my sorry to go back real quick. My second favorite running joke in Deadpool and Wolverine is every time that Gambit made a comment about, I think I was born in this universe. Like, it's very clear there's no movie to pin him to.
Yes.
There were moments where I was like, for my whole, like, ever since I heard the rumor that Channing Tatum wanted to play Gambit, my brain was just like, makes no sense to me. And then I saw it, and now I'm like, perfect. I don't know if I could have handled a full movie of it, but perfect. Like, I love
his accent was tough.
It was very tough, but they turned it into a joke, which is great.
Like, I've never seen Sling Blade, so I don't know. I don't know what that means. But I've heard.
But I was just like, this is like the cartoon. Like, I was like, it felt like it's like the cartoon.
Yeah. But I've heard that joke made before about other people with accents, so like, I wasn't completely lost. All right. That's all the San Diego stuff, really. Was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about San Diego? I really just wanted to keep it Marvel. I mean, DC had the Penguin panel, which, I mean, I can't wait for that, but that's coming out soon. Yeah. They released that Creature Commandos and Joker trailer right before Comic-Con.
Creature Commandos looks bad.
Nothing was said about the biggest DC release this week.
They wrapped. We can talk about that. We can talk about that now. Now, I've only seen the first episode.
Same. I've only seen the first.
Okay.
So I guess since that's so we have only about 30 minutes or so left. So from your list, pick like maybe the top 2 things, and we'll kind of go around till we run out of time. But and we can do a wrestling minute right at the end to close out. Jeff, I know you want SummerSlam predictions on the record.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, Batman Cape Crusader came out this week on Prime, which, you know what? David Zaslav or whoever let that go. Fools.
Exactly. I watched the first episode and I'm like, I cannot believe they let this go, and I'm watching this on fucking Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and now Clay can't watch it.
Ridiculous.
Oh, I'll be able to watch it.
Yeah, but it's so I only watched the first episode, but my goodness, I was back in it gave me the same feeling of watching like Batman the Animated Series when I was younger.
It is so good. I did see some people online complaining about it. Like, they were like, it's too slow, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
No.
And in my head, I'm like, you know what? Those people need to be transported back to 1977.
Yeah.
And they get to wait 5 years between good comic book content.
Yeah.
Because they've just gotten way too greedy. They've gotten way too entitled. I've seen the first 3 episodes. So good.
Just the thing, they'll have to deal with watching Super Friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's all they will have.
The thing I loved most about this, I think, and I kind of expected this to happen. I knew it wasn't a sequel to the original animated series, but the thing I was not expecting was basically Bruce Timm and company to sit down and go, okay, what if we were allowed to make the animated series we wanted to make? Right? We didn't have the censors hanging over us, because if you've ever read about the original animated series, they had to deal with some utter bullshit from TV censors, and to be able to just sit down and go, let's make that while still reinventing things. So I don't want to spoil anything, but the way they reinvent the Penguin, for instance, fantastic. I mean, and really, really chilling. And did you guys notice the cast they got for this?
It's pretty stacked.
It's amazing.
I don't want to read too deep into it because I want some surprises for the rest of the season. But Hamish Linklater as the voice of Batman, Bruce Wayne. He's excellent. He's excellent.
He's so good. And the thing I was not expecting, I read somewhere, he's a huge fan of the animated series. So even though he wasn't trying to do Kevin
Conroy.
Kevin Conroy, thank you. He just he said those beats were something he couldn't get past. And so it is a really good Kevin Conroy. I don't want to say impression because he's not doing an impression. No. It's much more. I think
well, he did. Yeah, I saw an interview with him, and he's like, he goes, I wasn't even up for the audition or anything like that. He goes, I just heard it was open, and he just started working on it. Like, and he goes, at first he tried to move away from the because he said he was a huge fan of it growing up. He's like, he just couldn't get it out of his head. So at some point he started leaning into it, and they're just trying to like.
I don't know what Clay
does a great job.
I don't know what Clay Googled, but he's impressed.
Yeah, because I looked up the cast and then I saw one of the villains that's showing up that I was just like, oh, they're doing that Kevin Smith villain that I didn't think was capable of coming out of the comics.
He's been all over it. Like Onomatopoeia is in the season.
I will. You know what I really enjoy is that it's almost like it's a spiritual successor to the original animated series, but it's almost like because it takes place, it's like 1920s Batman sort of. It does, but it has that feel like everything's old. The Catwoman is in her old, early costume.
He's got purple gloves on, the pointy ears.
Yeah, and the gloves.
They have guns, like actual guns.
Yeah. Again, it's what they couldn't do in the original animated series, right?
And they also brought a character they couldn't use in the original animated series called Nocturna, who was a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that. The best thing I've read so far, and I'm hoping it pays off, which will be kind of weird in this show, is that apparently there is a running kind of like mob character named Eels O'Brien. Which which if you know anything is the original name of Plastic Man. And I'm like, if they bring Plastic Man into this, my head will explode.
I had it on, and as soon as I heard that name, my ears a little perked up. Like, I was just like, wait a second.
Oh, it's gonna be incredible. I cannot believe. I mean, what a fucking idiot Zaslav is to let this go. Like, just doesn't give a shit about any of these properties, and yet they put him in charge. Like, I'm still mad about the Acme movie. I'm still mad about it.
It's crazy that they let it go.
Closing down Boomerang.
Yeah.
Well,
now the streaming service, that one kind of makes sense because like they have another streaming service, and I'm like, I didn't even know Boomerang had a streaming service. So
no, I did, and I was always considering subscribing, and then I didn't do it, and then MeTV Tunes popped up, and that scratches the same itch. So I just turned that on. But
I think they're going to close it down and just probably license out all those cartoons to other services.
Well, I read somewhere they're going to wrap it into Max, but what I don't know is if that means that like somebody leaked the email that subscribers got, and what I don't know is if it means if you subscribe to Max but didn't subscribe to Boomerang, you're going to get that content. The way they described it was if you were a Boomerang subscriber, they're going to wrap it into Max and roll it into a Max subscription.
That probably will be available. It would make no sense because then, like, how do you get new subscribers to that?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, really funny. Like, you can now get Disney, Hulu, and Max all in one bundle. So, like, what the hell does that mean?
And I thought they were breaking up Max too, weren't there? They were just I thought they were going to break up Max.
They rebranded a bunch of the shows from Max to HBO. Like the Penguin's now an HBO proper show.
I have a feeling the streaming, and I don't want to get too off topic, is like they're panicking because there's always a limit as to how many people you can get to subscribe.
Yeah.
And they're missing out on all their advertising revenue. So in a way, I think, not that you'll ever hear me cheering David Zaslav's name, but he's just like, let it go. We'll get it back when they license it out, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that
all right? Let's start wrapping up here. We'll, like I said, grab two things from your list and we'll touch on those. We'll go around, so we'll do one at a time. I'm gonna start. Last night after work, it's been a long week of work, and I just wanted to watch a good old M. Night Shyamalan flick. So I went to the theater. I like it, M. Night Shyamalan. I don't gotta, What are
But
we?
you can't rewatch an M. Night Shyamalan movie. That's the thing.
Well, he has a new one out this week called Trap.
Oh,
With
It does look good. It does look really fucking good.
I had a really good time at the theater. I'll do a full review of it later on the channel. But if you don't want to watch Deadpool Wolverine anymore, I recommend this. I think it's really interesting because not only is it obviously it's a film that he's doing it. I think Josh Hartnett is fantastic as this lead role, but it's also like M. Night is such a good dad because not only is he promoting his daughter's other film, The Watchers, like there's little things in this. There's like a little Easter egg in this film for that, which is fun. If you've seen The Watchers or you know about it, like once you see it, you're like, oh, cool. He's also helping promote his other daughter's music career because that music is a big right. If you've seen the trailer, she plays kind of like a Taylor Swift type of character, and that's kind of where the whole thing is. But on top of all that stuff, like the movie itself is very entertaining. It's not perfect like most F Night movies, but I had a good time at it. I want to watch it again to see those. That's the fun thing about the films. Like once you know everything about it, I like to go back and watch like how much of that stuff was really planned in there and all that. So, yeah, if you have nothing else to go to the theater or once the Alamo reopens by your neighborhood, go check it out because man,
Yes.
I usually go to either the Irving Mall or Grapevine Mills. They only had one screening of this because everything else was just Deadpool Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah.
So I watched at a very awkward time. But yeah, I had a good time with Trap. So stay tuned. I'm gonna do 2 videos hopefully. One's a review and then one's like I'll talk about the reveal itself. So all right. Clay, you want to talk about one of the things you
No, skip me.
No? Okay. Josh?
Yeah, I'll just go with 2 quick comics that I read. One, I just want to again point out Saga is back. Issue 67, fantastic. I mean, when is Saga not fantastic? But this is great. I love the way that that they've been able to structure the story so that when these breaks occur, it's almost kind of seamless to jump back on when they return. So this is I mean, I don't want to say a jumping on point because if you've never read Saga, you're going to be fucking confused. But if you haven't read it in 9 months like the rest of us, it's a nice organic place to pick back up. So good. And then
should I start Saga at issue 67?
Yes, exactly.
Next issue podcast approved.
And I just want to, I feel like this went really under the radar. And again, I don't know why, but I've had 2 posts on Threads this week kind of go semi-viral. And one of them was just me tagging J.M. DeMatteis about how much I loved his Shadow of the Green Goblin. And people just went nuts for that. I don't know why. For that post. This is issue 4. It's the last one. If you slept on this, please read it. It is so good. It is basically a story told from the point of view of a current day Peter Parker. You never see him. It's just voiceover. Thinking back to literally the weeks after Uncle Ben died and what was going on. And it is so good. It's drawn by Michael Santamaria. The art is fantastic. The writing is great. It's a good book. It's really good. So definitely check that out.
Cool. All right. Kyle, give us 1 or 2 quick things.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys talked about it for the last couple of weeks, but Cobra Kai season 6.
No, I don't. I think you're the Cobra Kai watcher on this.
Yeah.
Season 6 is out now. Like in the first 5 episodes, they're doing it as 15-parter, and so first part came out on the 18th. Second part comes out in November, and the next part I think January of next year. So, but it's just them all training and setting up the team they're going to be taking into Korea for the huge Kumite fight that they're going to be doing. So, and then you got Kreese coming back. He goes to Korea to meet with his former trainer and to lead the team that's going to fight there. And it's just it's a lot of fun. You get to see like the kids, but it's somehow, I don't know if it's because I think where you guys used to say it kind of felt like I almost felt it because I only got 5 episodes. I want to know what the hell happens, and I got so what's the word I'm trying to think of, spoiled by them releasing all 10 episodes at one time, and now it's just like maybe there is something to be having a weekly based, release of the episodes. I mean, again, this is going to be the final chapter, and then eventually we're looking at them doing movies, and they've even talked about doing a Mr. Miyagi prequel film, the origin of Mr. Miyagi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
was Jackie Chan going to show up in this?
No, not this. They are doing another Karate Kid film, but it's going to have both Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan in there. So I think we're going to see Daniel and whatever his name of his character from his movie come together.
Okay. All right, that's interesting.
And Karate Kid multiverse. I love it.
I mean, basically.
Wait, and you said they're going to the Kumite, like Bloodsport?
No. I forget what the thing's called. I'm just calling it like.
Kumite, okay. I was like, holy shit! This series has seriously ramped it up.
I know. I wonder what the Kumite. Yeah, there's Frank Dukes there, just kind of getting ready to do the split or something.
Yeah, this is the season that has Jean-Claude and Steven Seagal in it. Like it's gonna go.
Oh, nice.
Jean-Claude can maybe help it. Steven Seagal, please keep it away.
Also, my brain, like when you were like, this season is 15 episodes, and I was like, a TV show that has 15 episodes, that's unheard of these days. Like that's insane.
All right,
that sounded daunting.
Jeff, give us one quick thing, and then I think we have time to go around once more.
I read this Fantastic Four issue number 22, the Blood Hunt tie-in. I'm a little sad Josh walked away for this. I'll also kind of incorporate Blood Hunt number 5 in this. Mr. Fantastic has been trapped in New York during the whole Blood Hunt vampire thing happening that has been going on. So he's just been trying to, he and Alicia Masters have been trying to keep just a bunch of people safe on their own. And Mr. Fantastic has been stretching himself, using himself as a shield because vampires can't bite into him. But he stretches himself basically to his limits.
It reminds me of that. I think there's like a Darkhold issue or something where Spider-Man uses Reed to hold the city together because it's all kind of falling apart. It's like an Elseworld little story or something. That's crazy. Okay, and then you said you read Blood Hunt number 5.
Yeah, Blood Hunt number 5. But so the end of Blood Hunt number 5. Spoilers to anybody who's still watching. We get the person that ends up rescuing everybody. Well, in a way that the person that undarkens the world to make the vampires go away is Dr. Doom. He becomes the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth.
Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom.
Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom gets the Sorcerer Supreme title from Stephen Strange. But at the end of the Fantastic Four book, Mr. Fantastic does invents something that makes all the vampires go away, and it just happens to coincide with the darkness going away, the Darkhold. So Mr. Fantastic at first is like, "Oh, I did it," and then he's like, "No, that doesn't make sense that I did it. How did this happen? It must have been Tony or somebody else. The Avengers must have come through." And then Doctor Strange broadcasts himself all over the world, and he's like, "I'm your savior."
Yeah,
and
big changes.
Mr. Fantastic is like, "Oh fuck, this is what happened while I was busy."
I did love how I'm usually down on these tie-in issues, but I felt like Ryan North and company handled it well in this because they kept it very localized. And I did love what you just said, how it ended, where it's just like, I did it. Wait, this wasn't me, and it's like off somewhere else in some other issue, shit's going down,
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. It's really, it was really handled really well. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, real quick. I've been also reading the Absolute Power Task Force 7. This one's about the one that steals a Green Lantern power. It's really good. And then I also picked up, but I haven't read, Identity Crisis, the Super Pets book. It's a little anthology. There's like 4 different stories. So yeah, that'll be fun. I also read X-Force 1. It's not my favorite thing, so I don't really want to talk about it. I did a review for it already, so if you want to go hear how I feel about it. And unrelated to anything that's happening in the real world, I rewatched All of Beep because that show is really, really good.
Oh, so good.
For no reason, though. There has nothing to do with any real world event.
Nothing is happening at all.
It's just a quality show. So, all right. Josh, you have one more thing you want to talk about?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. But anyone else pick up the reprint of Justice League of America? Which I was confused because it said this was issue 1. But I thought issue 1 was the one with Starro.
No, that was Journey in the Mystery. Not Journey in the Mystery. That's Marvel. It was a showcase. It was a showcase book.
Oh, was it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Then, so this was just issue 1 of the actual title.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It was fun. You know,
Nice.
it's a
All right.
Silver Age DC book.
Kyle, anything else?
Thought it was kind of stupid, but kind of fun. I found that they released a new What If. What if Donald Duck could become Wolverine?
Oh yeah, how was that?
It's basically a 1940s Disney cartoon, and you come to find out. So Donald's Wolverine, he's sleeping, then Hawkeye Mickey shows up. They get a car ride from Goofy Hulk. You come to find out that basically, the history of Donald. There's apparently a battle with Krakoa, but he gets a fastball special by Pluto Colossus. And then they go to Uncle Scrooge's money bin where you have to fight the Beagle Boys and Pete.
Okay. So if
It's
you're
over
a
the top. I'm just like, what the fuck?
if you're a DuckTales fan, you probably enjoyed that.
It was all right. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, what's wrong with
Nice.
DuckTales?
I like DuckTales. No, nothing.
Oh,
nothing wrong with
okay.
DuckTales. I love DuckTales. I mean, other than the blatant capitalism by Uncle Scrooge, but
Every day we're out there making DuckTales.
that's unavoidable. All right, Jeff. One last thing?
I can tell you, I stopped by Half Price Books a while back, and I was able to find all these issues of Jonathan Hickman's Shield.
Oh.
So basically, it was 2 runs back to back, 2 6-issue runs, and like a little mini right in between the 2 of them. It turns out I did not get the whole thing. I thought I did, but I'm missing the very last issue.
Oh no!
Of the whole thing.
Oof.
But this is the most Jonathan Hickman Marvel thing I've ever read. I was so confused by it. I was just like, I don't even want to read the last issue, honestly. I love Jonathan Hickman, but this is just like all throughout time. It's got Leonardo da Vinci and what's the guy with the fallen apple. It's got all kinds of people in it.
Isaac Newton.
Nikolai Tesla. Yeah, Isaac Newton.
He assembled his own.
They are the secret founders of the Secret Shield. I was just like, I don't know where you're going with this, Jonathan.
Is this a Marvel book?
Yeah, and he's writing it. So I'd always heard that if you read Jonathan Hickman stuff, it all kind of loosely fits together, all the up until Secret War.
Yeah,
and he was writing this at the same time he was writing his Fantastic Four, and Reed Richards' dad and Howard Stark are characters in this,
Of course.
but I'm also like so confused by there's like a world machine. It's just so Jonathan Hickman-y. I'm just like, it was a lot.
All right.
Cool.
Well, let's do our wrestling minute and then we can start signing off. Also, keep reading this. It's fantastic. Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's good too.
Yeah, that one's good too.
All right. Jeff, you want to really quickly go through the card for SummerSlam tonight?
So yeah, we start off with, I'm just going to read them how they're on the thing. So the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, now Tribal Chief Rules or whatever they're calling it. Anything goes.
Cody retains.
I think Cody retains
because Roman comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my question: is do we see Roman come back today?
Roman's back. My chief is back.
Then we have the World Heavyweight Championship match: Damian Priest versus Gunther.
He retains.
I think
you think Gunther retains, or you think he retains? I feel like it's a little early to give for him to give up the belt too. But I don't know. That's what I'm.
I think somebody King of the Ring is putting a rocket on him, and I think Gunther. I think it's gonna be. I think Judgment Day is gonna cost him the title, and that's what's gonna cost the Rift. To keep going.
It does make sense to put the belt on Gunther though too, because he makes a great heel, and he's going into
that Backlash
Germany thing.
Yep.
Women's Championship: Bayley versus Nia Jax.
Bayley retains.
I hate to say it. I think Nia.
I think Nia wins.
She's just so horrible in the ring.
I think Nia wins, and it's going to be a whole cat and mouse with her friend.
Tiffany
Oh,
Stratton.
she just gave her that new briefcase, Money in the Bank. I love that Clay and Josh are like checking their emails and like doing their taxes. I think she just gave her that briefcase yesterday, the new briefcase, and I think Tiffany Stratton's gonna cash in on night.
That's the stab you in the back briefcase.
Yep.
100%. The best match of the night: Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley.
That's a hard call.
I think Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan retains. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Sammy, I want Sammy to retain, but I can see Braun getting it.
I think it's Braun's time. That man,
I think it's
God.
Demi, who did you say about Liv Rhea?
I want Rhea to win, but I think Dominic is gonna call. Once again, I think this is gonna be like a Judgment Day mess up, and then Liv's gonna retain somehow.
Logan Paul versus LA Knight.
LA Knight.
Please,
LA Knight's gonna win.
Yeah,
especially after Logan Paul tweeted himself in the trash bin. And then we finally have Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee.
I don't know how to go this one. I almost want Punk to win, but
I don't know. I think Drew. I want Drew to win. I like Punk.
I want Drew to win. It'd be weird to have CM Punk come back and immediately lose.
Yeah.
But I feel like you kill Drew's thing is like he keeps losing big matches.
Yeah,
he's gotta win a big one.
The other thing I can think of is
interference.
No contest. Yeah, no contest. Seth just screws them both over. Remember when I think it was Austin that was a referee and he just gave him the fingers and never finished the match and just started kicking everyone's ass? I think they're going to do that. Where Seth Rollins is going to kick both of them and it's going to lead to a triple threat. Next pay-per-view or whatever. I agree.
All right, that's our wrestling news.
Thank you, Leonard Kim. Yeah, Logan Paul loses to
Many wins.
All right, that's the end of our show. I want to thank everyone, obviously everyone that's here. Thank you guys for putting up with this once a week as much as we can. Thanks to everyone that's subscribed recently or for a long time, 3,000. I was looking at the analytics the other day. So it took us almost 2 years to get to 1,000. And then it took 10 months to get to 2,000 after that. And it took 9 months to get to 3,000. So in 8 months, if the trend continues, we should be at 4,000. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated on that. But very much appreciate everybody that contributes to the show. We've had a lot of guests all throughout these years, so that's been a lot of fun. Hopefully more to come. And yeah, I know there's sometimes a weird video that we're trying new stuff out. So thanks for watching, and thanks for everybody that watches live on this stuff.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you guys have anything? I know I didn't ask for recommendations. I'm just gonna say, go watch Veep. It's such a freaking good show. Even the 7th season, which is not as it's a whole arc. It's really interesting to watch it all at once too. Because last time I watched this was I think when I rewatched this a few years ago. It's a very interesting show, especially by the time it was being written and everything that's gone down since. So yeah. Do you guys does anybody have any recommendations before we close out the show?
I got one. So I one of the podcasts I listen to, Parks and Recollection. It's Jerry and one of the writers rewatching and talking about Parks and Rec, and the most recent episode had Patton Oswalt on it with the filibuster episode.
Oh,
and
nice.
they ask him about how he did that. He goes about just storytelling in general, and he goes on like this 3-minute just tangent about how he equates the different presidencies on how it affects pop culture and movies. And he starts with Kennedy all the way up until current run. I'm just like, okay, actually the way you talk about it makes a lot of sense. So
yeah. Leonard Kim, watch the Olympics. I agree. They've been pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Break dancing.
That Turkish man that just shot with no equipment. I want that anime.
yeah.
All right.
Anime.
Clay, Josh, you guys have anything?
Nope.
Recommend? No? All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody for watching. As always, I should have gotten the outro ready. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The most important thing in life will always be
El Bebo.
Simon Center, get the fuck out.
All right. Bye.